Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be doing a makeup tutorial because I feel like I never do them, pretty much because I don't think I'm good enough at makeup to be telling other people how to do their makeup, but I just like to do makeup for myself, so that's what I'm gonna do today. I don't know what it's gonna look like, I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens here. So I'm going to start out by priming my face. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I just take some of this and just rub. I don't know if that's a lot or not, but don't worry about it. I'm just going to start to really press it into my pores. This is good for people if you have oily skin. It's not my favorite primer, but it is like inexpensive, and when you're a college girl on a budget, you just gotta work with what you got, okay? I'm primed, I'm ready to go. Next, I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation. It's not super full coverage. It also has like a pretty nice natural finish. So it's been super nice for the summertime, making me feel all pretty and shit without putting like a full face of makeup on all the time. So what I do with this is pretty much I take a beauty blender, press it right into the pan here, and then I'll just dab it on like the center of my face, and really only the areas that like I feel that I need coverage. I try not to like do a mask of foundation. So I'm really just like focusing that on the center of my face. And then I'll blend the excess like out. Like at this point, there's barely anything on my sponge. And I'm just gonna go in with another little cushion just to really cover the areas that are problems, which is really just around my mouth because I have acne scarring. And then right in between my eyebrows. Okay. So that's all for foundation. Next, I'm gonna take the LA Girl Pro Conceal. Mine is in the shade Porcelain. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of spot concealing and also use this underneath my eyes. Really, I just put it like on any blemishes or breakouts, and then also my acne scarring. My face is significantly lighter than the rest of my body. What are you gonna do? But we'll fix it. We'll fix it. Everything's gonna look fine. It'll all be okay. Next, I'm gonna do my under eye concealer. When I do my under eye concealer, I try and keep it really light and just use as much as I need to use without like overdoing it. For me and my under eyes, they can get super dry and cakey and just not look very good and make me look like I'm fucking 30 when I'm only 20. That's the tea. If you see where like my lines in my under eyes are, kind of like one here and one here, so I just kind of do a little swipey and I try and keep that as far away from my actual like creases in my eyes, therefore there's less of a chance that over like the night or the day it's gonna get gross and creasy. And then I just take a mini beauty blender and blend it out. I know like using a mini beauty blender and a big one is kind of extra. It's definitely not necessary, but I find that when I'm like doing my under eyes, I have less creasing throughout the day when I use a mini beauty blender, just because it gets into those fine lines and little areas. And at this point, there's really not much product left to blend, so I just take the excess and rub it up on my eyelids. And then I'm gonna go in with all of like my cream type of products. First, I'm going to do highlighter. It's from a brand called Laritzi Cosmetics. Oh look, you can see me. Yeah, so it's a Dew Pot Illuminator in the shade Utopia. You could use it either as like a blush or a highlighter. Today I'm just gonna use it for my highlight. Like a nice peachy, pinky shade. I'm just gonna take some on my finger. It's not very pigmented, but it definitely gave me a little bit of color on my cheeks, so that's why I'm not putting it on just my typical like high points of my cheeks. I'm trying to like blend it down somewhat into the apples of my cheeks. The thing that I like about working with cream products, especially cream cheek products, is that you have, like, personally, I feel you have a little bit more control over how much product is going on your face. You can always add more and it's gonna blend well regardless, but then if you add too much, you can always like go over with a setting powder and make it less intense. You got a little cream contour action going on today with the LA Girl Pro Concealer. So I just do like, I really try and keep it light with the green contour because I think it's easy to go overboard. And then I'm gonna take my mini beauty blender, but on the flat side, and just start to like blend it up. And then once there's less product, I'll bring it more inwards on my face. That way you're not gonna look like dirty or gray. Do you know what I mean? So on this side, I'm gonna do the same thing. When I put too much, I'm just really blending it onto my forehead. But yeah, I'm gonna go over all of my cheek products with powder. So this step isn't really necessary. I just like it because it gives you that nice base, and then your bronzer and your highlight and your blush aren't really gonna wear off as much throughout the day or throughout the night, whatever you're doing. Next, I'm gonna go in with the Glossier Cloud Paints. You guys, some people have said like I only do videos on like Glossier products, and I'm sorry, I didn't realize, but it's just because I love them so much. I'm gonna do the Cloud Paint in the shade, well, I'm gonna mix two of them. I'm gonna do the shade Beam and the shade Puff. It's like a pinky one. This is like Beam, it's more coral. Oh, that was way too much. Whoopsie. I have way too much cloud paint on my hand. I will not be using all of this. I try and focus it on the back half of the apple of my cheek and blend it upwards. And then once I have less product on my hands, I start to blend it more inwards. So next, I'm gonna set my face with a powder. This is the Maybelline Fit Me powder, and this is in the shade 10. So first, when I'm setting my face, I use like a smaller setting brush for my under eyes. And then I'm just gonna tap out any creases that might have happened along the way. The place that I go hardest with powder is really just in the center of my face. I try not to like go overboard and set everything really heavy with powder because I think, again, it can make you look cakey and just like way older than you are. I pretty much use this smaller brush for the majority of my powder, but then I'll go in again with a big fluffy brush just to set like the sides of my cheeks or where I'm gonna put on bronzer, just so it goes on better. And then I also set my eyelids just so they don't crease throughout the day. And also, if you're putting like any sort of shadow on your eyes, this is gonna make the product blend a lot nicer, more nicely. And like I said, I go in just with one very small dip into this powder and tap off a lot of the excess, and then just set like the sides of my cheeks. I do try like to use as little amount of powder as possible because then I can just bring a setting powder in my bag, take it with me, and when I'm getting oily then touch up, versus having like so much caked on your face at once. It looks, to me, it's like it just doesn't look good on me. For brows, I start out with the Anastasia Brow Definer in Taupe. I try not to go too heavy-handed. Lately, I've just been trying to keep everything super natural with my brows. I try to just do like where I need to do it. I always brush through my brows as I go because that way it's gonna make them just look more natural, not as Sharpie eyebrows, like 2014 Sharpie eyebrows. And I just try and really pay attention to what I need that day with that particular look. I don't really have an everyday makeup routine that I do like without fail. I just try and pay attention to my face and like what I need at the time. And then I go in the center very lightly and just bring them in a little more. Now that I've done my eyebrow pencil, I go in with the Glossier Boy Brow in the shade Blonde. A lot of days I will skip the brow pencil and just use this because it's a lot faster, but if like I am going out, I'll usually fill my brows in. And I will also usually fill them in if I'm gonna be wearing any type of eyeshadow. I love the Boy Brow because since it's tinted and I don't use a lot of brow pencil, it'll fill in any areas that I missed or didn't want to fill in with a brow pencil. And then it also keeps them in place. Next, we are going to do bronzer. I use a couple different bronzers because I'm a little serious about that. First, I do the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and just on, it's like a little tapered, but it's just a fluffy brush. I take a big old swirl, always tap your excess off, and then I pretty much bronze my entire face, so I'll just kind of show you what I do. Where most of the product is going to be deposited is around like my cheekbone area, just to give me a little bit of definition. So I start there, and then I bring it up to my forehead. And I do my eyebrows before I do my bronzer because I feel like it makes more sense. Your eyebrows, they frame your face, and then you kind of have an idea of where you need to put bronzer and contour. You already have the general frame outlined. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Probably not. But then I go in again with more, like another dip, and do the same type of thing, but focus more on just my cheekbones, and then blend that onto my cheeky cheeks. Really, I just put it everywhere, but try and be a little less heavy-handed in certain areas. So next, I take the Wet n Wild Mega Glow contouring palette in Dulce de Leche, but I take the contour shade on like a more tapered brush like this, and so then I really only focus on putting the product on the outermost parts of your cheeks. I try not to let my brush, when depositing the product initially, past like the tail of my eyebrows. And I try and focus on the line from the tip of my ear to the corner of my mouth. Because I have more of a square jaw, I really focus on this part of my cheekbone just to kind of soften it up a little bit because it's super sharp. Like you have this and then you have this. All right. Makeup is fun. Makeup is freeing. Now that we did that, I go back in with the brush that I put on the butter bronzer with, but don't put any extra product on it. After that, I'm gonna take this Pacifica Duo that I got in my Ipsy bag. I'm gonna use the blush and really focus that on the apples of my cheeks. And I also bring that on the center of my nose and then onto my forehead. So I'm gonna take my butter bronzer with a crease brush, just a fluffy crease brush. I kind of focus it like on the outer half of my eyelid and then up into my crease. Because I'm lazy, I just use the same brush for underneath my eye, but I kind of like squeeze it like this. And then I'm gonna go in with the same product that we used for highlighter. It looks like this. I'm gonna take it on my ring finger. And then I'm gonna set the color that we just put on with the shade from my Jaclyn Hill palette. I think I'm gonna do this first and then this over top. Tap that all over my eyelid and I bring it up into the crease because I kind of like the look of having like a little shimmer in your crease. The highlighter, again, is not necessary to put underneath, but I think it intensifies the shadow that you put on top. You can't see how cool this actually looks, but... And then I'm gonna use the one that was on the very corner of the palette. Okay. Then I'm going to use this Tetris eyeshadow that I got from Ipsy, and it's called Game Night, and it's like just a yellowy green color, and I'm gonna put that on my inner corner. And then I'm gonna take a gold eyeliner. This one is from NYX. It is the Studio Liquid Liner in gold. It's pretty old. And so what I'm trying to do is just connect it, only really go until like the yellow shade starts to come in. I'm gonna take that same eyeliner and put it on the inner corner. And so now that I did that, I'm gonna do mascara, and then I should be good to go. So for mascara, I use the NYX Worth the Hype Extreme something mascara, I don't know. My camera memory card fucked up while I was putting on my mascara, but it's a good thing I got everything into the video, like makeup wise. So this is just the finished look. I'm watching a dog right now at an apartment, and there were just fireworks, and so now she's like cuddled up in the bathtub, and I just feel really bad because she's super stressed out. So I'm just trying to comfort her. Her name is Pola, and she's very sweet, but just a little bit stressed out from the fireworks, right, Pola? But yes, so this is the finished look. This is like a good summertime going out look, I guess. I know the lighting is really bad, and I'm sorry, but anyways, thank you so much for watching my video. Be sure to subscribe and like this channel, and hashtag pray for Pola and her anxieties and stress. I hope you enjoyed. Don't take this as a tutorial because we all have very different face shapes, and what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for me. But comment below, you know, what you use, the products you use when you go out in the summertime. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you liked the video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you guys later.